Good morning, everyone. Hello. Hi. It's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue here for today's Cricut Chat. And it is a rainy day today, which is good because it's good for my peonies. I don't know if you guys are experiencing nice sunny weather or not so great weather. I'm trying to get my screen so it doesn't look like we're looking through a screen door, but I don't know, that's not working. But anyway, we're going to be bringing on the spring today, even though it doesn't quite feel like it. Good morning, Shelley. Good morning, Elizabeth and Shirley and Alexandra. Good morning. So this morning we are going to be making one of my favorite flowers. In fact, we're going to be working on some of my favorite flowers for a few days. I don't know. I could try to sort of space them out, but it's sort of like spring. They all sort of start coming, and then once the first one goes, they all sort of come. So I thought that I would work on all of them this week and into next week, so we can have sort of a little flower festival on our hands. And of course, the dog is chewing something since I am on the video. Isn't he naughty? And my dogs have been so naughty. Yeah, flowers are important. You know, you can't eat them, no, but, well, some people do. Like things like violets and lavender, but you can certainly look at them, and they're just so beautiful, and they are so inspiring. So one of my favorites is sort of a northern flower. I don't think they grow very well down south. That's what I've heard anyway, is a peony or a peony. When I moved into this house in 1999, I had one old-fashioned peony. I'm going to say peony. One old-fashioned peony bush in my backyard. And my mom went in there in the fall, and she separated them because they grow in like tubers. They almost look kind of like a very thin sweet potato, if that makes sense. And so she took a lot of the tubers, left that one there, but she basically kind of thinned it out and then put them all along my garage. So that the next spring I ended up having, 8 instead of 1. And then we sort of every few years sort of did the same thing. And now we have them all over. We have them on the side and a little bit on the front. And then we have the ones in the back and then the way back. And it's just such a beautiful time when they start to grow. They grow like practically overnight. They get very, very tall. And this kind of old-fashioned peony is not so good at keeping its head up. So you have to stake them. You have to put these peony rings in, which I still have to do. So you have to get them before they get too big. So as soon as you see the greens start coming in, you got to go out there and put the stakes in. And then when they start to bloom, it is like all of a sudden you see one morning, you might see one little tiny opening, and then by afternoon, they've all just popped. It's like popcorn, for flowers. So it's probably one of my favorite things to watch happen in the spring. And so because of that, I have come up with several, they don't like your area. I did not buy one of these peonies. So this was left by the previous owner, and it's just really it's a fun flower. Consequently, I have always enjoyed the flowers, but they don't last very long. And when I take pictures every year, and I bring some inside, and because then once they're done flowering, it's quick. You know, it's like maybe a week and then they just go to a very lush green bush. And so you have to go and do something called deadheading, which is just basically cutting off the dead flower heads. So because of that, I have sort of gravitated towards peony projects. I also do the same with hydrangeas. So I wanted to show you a Cricut peony flower. Mine are pinks and like kind of light pink. I do have a couple that are darker. And so that's what I've used here. But the problem thing for me is that I cannot find a really great pink cardstock. So I actually, I'll talk about that when we get to cutting, but I'll show you that. But this is actually a smaller version of what is given to you in Design Space. I'll hold it this way, and there's leaves and everything. And you do need a glue gun for this, and so you'll need several sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock. Or 8.5 by 11, depending on how you want to size this. And this is actually sized about 8 inches. This is an 8-inch flower, though you could make them much bigger. And Renee's asking, how would tissue paper do? I have always thought of doing them in tissue paper and crepe paper, and I do definitely want to try them out. The thing about peonies in real life, and also when you make them in out of paper, is that they're fairly heavy. And so if you want to make a stem for it, I would suggest actually doubling up this. We did this before, this very thick wire. So we're going to try to thicken them up with that, and we'll try to do that this morning. So you do also need a glue gun. You're going to need some green cardstock as well if you want to make leaves, and then just a little bit of yellow to make the centers. And that's about it. Now, there is also another project that I want to show you, but it is a paid project. It's from Dreaming Tree, and it is a gift box, Peony Gift Box. And actually, I want to show you it in case we're going to do it in case you want to get it ahead of time. You can. So let me just show you what it is, and I can send a link so that you know. But it's called the Peony Gift Box. And so this is the Dreaming Tree's version of a peony. And they do a lot of inking because Leo likes to ink. And so here is a great little box that we can make with their version of the peony. But I actually kind of like this version. It looks a little less like this to me looks like a lily from a lily pad, but still could be a peony, I guess. And I will put that link. Now, one thing that I want to tell you about is back in the day, Cricut did take an interest in trying to show people how to put these projects together. I don't mean that to sound negative. I'm just saying that when people would buy cartridges, they would come with little handbooks, and the handbooks they remind me a little bit of Lego handbooks, only not as good as a Lego handbook. And I don't know if all of you know this, but there is on their site a page on the help section, help.cricut.com, called Cartridge Handbooks. And we're going to use the cartridge handbook for this cartridge. Now, not all handbooks are available, and all the newer stuff that's not available. But the older things do have handbooks, and on the third column says handbook. And this is the actual group that we're going to look at. It's called 3D Floral Home Decor. Now, to get to this page, and I can also put a link at the end of the video, to get to this page, you just simply have to Google Cricut handbooks or Cricut cartridge or handbook, something handbooks, and you will get there. This is from 3D Floral Home Decor. We've been in this image set often. But if you bought it in the cartridge, it was actually in the small box. They used to have really large, almost like VHS boxes, and then they migrated to a small square box. And this was one of the ones in the square boxes. And as you can see, there's lilies, and we have done already several of these flowers. We did the Gerber daisy, we did the daffodil, we did the poppy last year, and I've also used several of these winter greenery pieces like these poinsettias and the holly and mistletoe. So we do use this cartridge an awful lot. It is thankfully part of Cricut Access. And let's see, going forward, I think what we're going to try is to do this lily. I think it's more like a tiger lily. There is a tulip, by the way, and there's an iris. So I was thinking about doing that. I actually made these morning glories in the past, and I really like them. They were beautiful. So there's a lot to sort of dig in on this cartridge, and there are a lot of pieces to these flowers. So I would suggest that you do seek this out if you're looking to try to put these together. So basically what these are, this is a PDF version of the pieces that you would cut. Now this stuff here, you don't have to pay any attention to, or even these letters and numbers things. That was for people who are creating, and there are still people that have the older machines and they use this, it's called an overlay, and they put it on their machine and then they press the buttons based on what's listed on the handbook. Okay. So that's what those letters and numbers are for. What we're going to look for is we're going to look at the assembly, which is down at the bottom. So I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom. Oh, my light went off. Hold on. I'm always having electric issues. Must be the old house. Okay. Let's see. Keep going. Okay. So sort of 3/4 of the way in, you'll start to see these assembly instructions. This is what I meant about it being sort of like a Lego assembly. So here are, this is for the daffodil. Remember we did the daffodil, and this for the tulip. And let's see, we're going to keep scrolling until we get to the peony. So you'll see here the peony has six pieces of flowers because it's a very full flower, and it also has the stamen, the 2 pieces of the stamen. And I will show you how to get that and also to resize it. They don't say it here, but if you look at this, it kind of alludes to the fact that maybe you want to use different colors for your peonies, because peonies can tend to be like bright on the outside, and then they get sort of less color. They're really very interesting flowers. And so you can use different color pinks, and that is for the one that I'm going to show you how to put together. I did do today, so you can see. Could this be done on tissue paper? I think that these 4 pieces could. These inside pieces, maybe not, just because there's a lot of like cutting, and I'll show you when we get there. There's a lot of gluing at this point, and so I think it would need to be simplified if you want to do it in tissue or even crepe paper. But it's a good place to start and start experimenting. Okay, so let's see. Let's get back to Design Space. So in Design Space, this is what my file looks like, and I will give this file to you, but I also want to show you where you can find it, because that's important. You have to learn how to learn, right? So, and that goes for everything with life. So let's do a new canvas, and we're going to go over to images right here on the left-hand side. Okay. And that brings up this, which is sort of the image search engine plus all of these categories. And these categories, don't ignore them. There are a lot of really interesting things in them. I especially like over here under trending, there's cards, there's causes, phrases, and sentiments. Now, my favorite place to go is under image sets, which is on the left-hand side at the bottom. And this will bring up all of the image sets. So in cartridge terms, these would be the handbooks for the cartridges if these were all in cartridges, but they're not. They're digital, so they call them image sets. Okay, and even for the older ones, they are here. They're not quite handbooks because they don't tell you how to put them together, but all of the images are compiled in an image set. And if you scroll, there's almost 4,000 image sets, some of them bigger than the other. It's usually, if you've got a really big image set, it's because it's older. So if we looked at, for instance, let me just look at for love. See, there's these ones here, love, 50 image, 67 images, 50 images. So there's a lot of images in the older ones, but the newer ones, not so much. So what we're going to do is we are going to look 3D. Just put in the number 3 and the letter D, and you will come up with quite a few of these 3D images. And we have explored several of these, and we can continue to do more, obviously, because we have our 3D Fridays. But today we're going to focus on this one. It's called 3D Floral Home Decor, which we just looked at the cartridge handbook, so we're good. So here are all the done flowers, and so you need to scroll down to pick the peony. Okay, so we're going to insert the peony. Now you'll notice it comes in so super large. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make it smaller. So I don't know if you know this, but there is a 100% and then a plus and minus here, and you can just click on that and go down so you can kind of see your entire image. Okay, I did it down to 25% because it's that big of an image. So what I want to do here, because I want to resize this, if I were to cut this out, it would be enormous. So I want to size it, still be big, but not make it so big. And so what I'm going to do is take all of the pieces and sort of stack them. This is the same method that I use for making or sizing for cards and for other things, is stack them. And then I use sort of my eyeball in deciding what size they're going to be. So once I stack them, I'm going to group them together, which only means I'm going to drag my mouse and get that box around it, and we're going to go up here to group. Now I can make my screen bigger, which I'm going to do. So that's 75%. At 100%, the widest piece on this is why we stack. The widest piece on this is actually over the size of a regular size mat. It's 11.789. So you're going to need a bigger mat if you want to do it this size. Personally, I wouldn't bother. 11, almost 12-inch flower is going to be huge. This one is 8 inches, and I think it's a perfect size, but you can go from anywhere to, go smaller or larger if you want to incorporate it onto a part of a bouquet. Maybe you want to go slightly smaller than the 8 inches, but all you need to do is sort of just pull on this or drag on this arrows that are going the opposite way of each other, and sort of change the size to whatever you want it to be. I'm thinking that I changed mine to about 8 inches. I don't know exactly the size I made, but the reason why I did it that way is because I want to, this is me going to the print, I wanted to use 8.5 by 11 inch paper for my pinks, because I have, let's see if I can show you. Yep, right here. Hold on. I have this pack of paper. It's called Pink Buttons. It's from Michael's. It's 50 sheets of all pinks. So here you go. There's all pinks. And they're different, all different kinds of pinks, 50 sheets. And this will make quite a few of the peonies. So if you want a full bouquet, I might get I might get 2 packs, because you'll see here with 8.5 by 11 inch paper, each flower is going to be taking up probably, let me just see, 4. I'm just trying to see if I can rearrange this one so it could be cut on the same. This might be a tight squeeze, so you got to figure at least 4 for the flower part. So floor sheets for the flower part. Yeah, I could fit that in an 8.5 by 11. And then, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, gosh, darn it. There's a 5th. Okay, so let's change that up. So let's move this to here. And I'm going to move this one over to the blank one. So we'll be at 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you are a very frugal person, you could get 10 stems, right? If you're using a 50 pack of paper, you could get 10 stems. Plus, if you wanted, you need green and yellow for the inside. Okay. How do I do what, Sandra? Move things? So moving things around on your mat is, if you're a frugal person, is your best friend. Let me show you. So images, when they come up on sort of like I like to think of it as like the preview page. So that's after you hit make it. So they separate by mats, and they usually do it by color, but you can sort of trick out the system, and that is, you can do it a couple ways. You can tell the system that you're using 8.5 by 11 inch paper, which you can do like this, and it will automatically push things to 8.5 by 11, but then that makes it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sheets. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to switch it back to 12 by 12 so that I can be in control of the images. Now, if I had a 12 by 12 inch paper that was pink, which I don't, I could fit more onto these, and I could probably cut it out in 3 12 by 12 inch sheets of paper, but I only have 8.5 by 11 in pink. So that's what I'm using. And how I moved it. So this is a small piece, and I am going to go and click on the 3 dots and hit move object. Okay. What comes up is all of your mats plus an option for a new mat. Okay. Now, except you aren't able to move something from the current mat, because then it wouldn't be moving, right? So we have selected a piece, and we're going to change it to move it to a different mat. In this case, we're going to put it on this mat because it will fit, and it will be easy for us to cut on 8.5 by 11. We may need to have to move it around a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So then I am down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 sheets, and there's 50 sheets in a pack of paper. So that's 10 blooms that you'll be able to do, 10 flower heads. Okay. I honestly would cut these on, if you have it, I would cut these on intricate cut setting, especially the little the stamen. It's pretty intricate, and it seems to do a really good job. The Michaels paper, in addition to being available in lots of different colors, is also very nice to cut with. It cuts like, I always say it cuts like butter, but then I sound like Barbara Streisand. So I don't need to show you how to cut that. So let's go ahead and get back to my work surface and start putting it together. All right. So let's see. I've gone ahead and cut out an additional one. Here is the one that I did. I did it in all the same color, because this one actually cut out of 12 by 12 cardstock and put it together. I did have to use a glue gun. Now, before you kind of complete this or get started on this, you might want to consider what you're going to use, if you're going to put a stem on it or not. So these were the stems that I talked to you about when we were doing the daffodils. If you're going to use something like this, you need to make room on the inside of your flower to put this part that's almost like a screw head in there. There is not an opening. Let me just get this off. Okay, so this is the screw head, and what I would suggest is putting the actual stamen on the top of this and then pushing through, or you might have to make a space, but push through all the way to the back so it would hold the flower in place. If you're not going to use this, you can't find these, then we can use this. It's a very thick, I think it's 16 gauge. I don't know for sure. I'll find out for you. But it's a thick one, and I might even double it up, and I'll show you how to put the bloom on there. And then also we have our famous painter's florist tape there, okay? I have my glue gun over here heating up in my teddy bear mug. Let's just move this so you can see. So in my example, I did it all in the same color pink, which you can do. And peonies are very versatile. They come in all different colors, including like a really bright pink all the way down to white. And so you can do whatever you like. So for this one that we're putting together today, I actually cut it out of 3 colors from that pack. I'm going to put these 2 things aside, the leaves and the stamen aside, so we can just talk about the flower. So you can see that there are 3 different colors, which I think will look kind of nice together, okay? And the way that these go is that this is going to be the inside piece. So as I was mentioning, this is where you would put a hole, okay, if you're going to use something like this. But if not, you don't have to worry about a hole. So there are 2 of these. They look exactly alike, and they are slightly different in size. So the smallest of them would be the place where the stamen is going to go, and then it goes from here and actually go like this. Okay, and I'm going to show you what to do with these little, I call them arms, because it is a little confusing. The first couple times I did it, I had confusing. And then there's this, which there are 3 leaves. There's a tab here, and we're going to glue those tabs, and you'll notice that it automatically gives sort of a cup effect to the flowers. And there's 2 of those. I think they're the same size. Yes, they're the same size, and they're supposed to be put together so that they sort of overlap like this, and it gives a real fullness. And then you've got these 2, which are sort of the outside pieces. One is larger than the other, and so the largest piece is going to be the the outermost piece, the outermost size, okay? So let's start working on, I usually start working on the bud, but I want to just get these ready for when we want to put it together. So this is cardstock. It's a nice thin, medium sort of cardstock, 65 pounds. And cardstock looks like paper, right? Because it's paper. So what I like to do is take each leaf or each petal and use something like this. This is a small, you probably have seen it, but you don't need to use this in particular. You can use the large one. You can use a bone folder. You can use a pencil or a dowel or anything like that. But really what we want to do is hold it so that it's on one side of the petal. And I use my thumb for this. And then I just simply pull it like this, and it creates a real uplift look to the petal. So you need to be careful here. You might pull off a petal. So go slow, even if you're doing a giant project. Just go slow with this part because you don't want to lose petals. But if you do, remember, not all flowers are perfect. And so you don't have to discard that flower if you have a ripped petal or a ripped off petal. Okay, so I do this on the first one, right? And then that's the outside part. And here is the next one. I'm doing the same thing. You see what I'm doing? I'm just curling it. So if you're somebody who liked curling ribbon as a child, like me, this would be a fun process for you. I wouldn't suggest using scissors to curl it because I think that would rip them more often than not, but you could also use scissors, I suppose. Anything that's sort of flat, and then just use your fingers to create that lift. And you get better at this as you go along. Okay, so here are two pieces. You can come back, and if you didn't do one really well, and it's not a super curl, so this one's curled quite a bit, so you can sort of open it up a little bit if you don't like the way that it's curled. So there are the outside two pieces. Let's work on the middle pieces. And these I do like to do a little curl. I just don't like a flat looking flower. So on this one, I pull around the edges to try to give that each of those petals sort of that wavy look. So that's what I'm doing here. Pulling on these petals like this. And there's that. And then this one. If somebody does try this in tissue paper or crepe paper, let me know if it works. I would say I would do it, but I have a couple of things going on today that I can't do. So there are our middle pieces. And then finally this piece, we're going to just give it a tiny bit of a curve. Doesn't need a whole lot here, just a little bit to kind of give it a closed up look. Not a whole lot, okay? So now that we got that done, we are going to then work from the inside out, and we're going to take our stamen. There are two. There's a bigger one and a smaller one, and what you want to do is just sort of press on the middle and then fan it out with your fingers like this. You can do it as much as you want. It doesn't have to be, you could scrunch it all the way down like this, and then you've got this one, do the same thing. Okay. And we're going to put a little tiny dot, we're going to put a little tiny dot of glue right here and nestle the small piece into the large piece. Okay. And then we're going to start with our blossom, the actual bud of it, okay? Now, if you know peonies, they bloom, they start as just like little balls, and they need things like ants to crawl over them to help them open up by eating away at that like mucus membrane to open up the flower. So yes, I do get ants in my house, not in my house, but in my yard a lot. So here is the innermost piece, and you notice that it has these arms right here. So there's 3 petals. This is where our stamen's going to go, but they have these little, to me, they look like arms. And what we're going to do is, and this is, I think, the hardest part of the entire flower, is we're going to bend them both like this and glue them to the middle of the flower. Okay, and we're going to work, the first one's not terribly hard, but the second and third makes it a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to put the glue right here underneath that fist of that piece. That makes sense. And really going to bend this in and make sure it sets. Then this one, bend. Okay, we're going to, this is the smallest piece of all the petals. So we're going to make a really closed off blossom or bud here. And we're going to proceed on and do the same thing. And at some point, we're going to also put the stamen in there, but I'll wait until after I show you this part. Okay. It's okay if you have to move it because it is a very small piece, and you really have to get a little practice on doing this and be careful using a hot glue gun. But this is the way that I like to do this one. Now, at the third part, we have it so that if you close it up the way we've been doing it, it will be really tight and you won't be able to see the stamen. So I'm going to put the stamen inside first. All right. Oops. Just got a little glue on my hand. Okay. So here's the stamen. There. And instead of doing this one inside, I'm going to actually curl it around to the back. Okay. So I'm going to put a little tiny bit of glue on the other side than what I was putting that on, holding it on the bottom here. Okay. Same thing here. I can either put it on the back or on the hand or the arm, the fist. Okay. So there's our bud. Isn't that pretty? Very pretty, I think. Well, got to make sure that your glue is sticking. All right, here we go. Okay, so there's the bud. I have to avoid making sure that the glue holds. Okay. Yes, Benji. Okay, so this part, the next part is, I know, I burn myself all the time with glue guns. That's why I don't like them very much. Okay, so the next part is the same shape, only bigger. And so what I like to do with this one is put it so that the little fists are in the back, kind of like what we did with that third petal. So I want to make it a little more open than that innermost petal. So this is how I'm doing it. Okay. And I am using a glue gun. I do think that you have to use a glue gun, especially for this piece. I mean, you can try liquid glue, but it's, I don't know. It would take a long time. You'd have to hold it for quite a while. All right. Okay. Same thing with the second petal. So we're kind of like opening up the flower a little bit here. There's one. And don't be afraid of like kind of manipulating your paper a little bit. It does bend. It is paper. So go ahead and bend it. All right. And then the last one is here. little dot of glue. There we go. We have to bend this one a little bit more. Like this. So see how it's a little more open? As soon as this takes, I will turn it over. You don't have to worry about any mess here on this side because you're not going to see that side of the flower. And so that is our next piece. And this one's going to go in here. So we're going to put a little bit of glue here so that we can get it to stick to that inside piece. So just wiggle it in. And if you have to, or if you want to, you can just use something to sort of hold it so that it will stick really good in there. All right. Now, you could, I didn't think of it for this one, but you could, if you wanted to, take a tiny bit of glue and sort of pull in this. But I kind of like that it's sort of opening up. But just know that you could do that. Use your own discretion when you're doing that. And there is your bud of the flower. Just want to make sure that's on there really good. I've got a runaway piece here. Okay. So there's our bud. Let's put that aside. Let's do this one. Or these ones, I should say. These are two the exact same piece. And all we're going to do for this one is we are going to glue right here at that half circle. And there is a little bit of an overlap here, and that's okay. And you notice it comes and it's a little bit like cupped, right? Okay. And the same with this. Again, these are two of the exact same. I would probably put on this particular one, I would put the tab on the back because you're going to see the face of the flower and you don't want to see that tab. Okay. So once those have set really well, we're going to glue them together. Just a little more glue in the back here. But because they're not flat, do hold them so that it really takes, okay? So I have overlapped them and I'm holding it because I want it to really take, okay? And if you want, you can play around with the petals as you're going along. Now, if you want also, you can start putting the flower together. And all I'm doing is putting some glue onto the bud part. And again, I'm going to use my tool or whatever tool I can just to sort of hold it down. And there we go. I think that's in there well. And then we just need to put these on. That's it. Wasn't that easy? Super, super easy flower. It only looks sort of daunting. But it's a super easy flower to do. So I'm going to put that one on. And then I'm going to put this one on. I want to do it sort of kitty corner. Right. So that, and all that you're left to do is if you want to do some fluffing, you know how much I like to fluff. And here is the fluffing. Now, I have done these with these petals before these, and they looked good. And in fact, I think with this one, no, I didn't do it that way. But you can use that at the, like, sort of the back. But I think it's sort of your discretion. I like this look myself. All right. And this, the size I'm going to give you results in like an 8-inch flower. So let's measure it. Yeah, about 8 inches. Okay. So let's talk about the leaves. The leaves are, there's one that's just plain, and then there's this one that has a tab. So we're going to glue that, and it gives it a little bit of dimension because it's sort of curved here, okay? Peony leaves are fairly straight. I mean, if you wanted to sort of just use your fingers to, I don't think you really need to use the scraper thing, but you could, but just to give a tiny bit. But peony leaves are fairly straight, so they look fine straight, okay? So how do we put this on a stem? If you're going to put this on a stem, I would take this very thick, I think it's 16 gauge, and cut it like this. Ugh, I don't have a whole lot. There we go. a whole lot of strength today. Okay, so I'd cut this like this. If you really wanted to make it thicker, you could double this up. You see that? And then we're going to do the old trick that we did last time, and we're just going to make a circle or like a little loop here and make sure that it is flat. So see that? It's flat here. And what we are going to do is we can put it on our flower just like this, and then we can come back and decorate it with, or make it look more floral, more realistic by using floral tape and those leaves. So let me just pop this on here. Make sure you hold it. I might need a tiny bit more glue there. And give it a second, because this is pretty hefty, this wire, so give it a second. And this part here sort of depends on how you're going to use it. If you're going to use it like as a wall piece, you don't need to do this part. If you're going to use it as a part of a bouquet or in a vase of flowers, you would need to do this part. Maybe you won't need to do all the leaves. I tend to, maybe I would make like one with leaves and two without, and I don't like a whole lot of leaves in my bouquet in general, so I don't make leaves for everything. If you're going to use it on a wreath, I would actually make smaller ones on a wreath. And maybe this would be the big flower on your wreath. So you always work in threes when you're making wreaths. Okay, threes when you're making wreaths. So if you want to know how to sort of decorate a wreath, it's best to think in threes. So 3 6s, so your big flower would have 3, and then your medium-sized flower would have 6 of them. And then as far as the smaller one, you can go more than that, like 9, or keep going that way. Okay. All right. So it's almost set. Almost set. Okay, the leaves are pretty thick, so I'm not sure that we're going to need to sort of hold them up with anything. Although, if you're just going to hold it by the stem, it's going to be a problem. So I'm going to wrap or unwrap first. I'm going to wrap this floral tape. We've talked about floral tape before, okay? It is a stretchy, it's actually crepe paper that has like a wax on it. And when you stretch it, it has sort of I don't know if you can see that, a tack to it. It's not super sticky, but it does have a tack. And if you stretch it, it sort of activates that tack. I want to make sure that that's done. So I'm going to start, hopefully that's on there well. I like to, only because I'm not very good with floral tape, I like to start it by putting a little tiny bit of glue on the end, just to get it started. And I'm going to actually spin it up and then down again, because this stem needs to be super thick, or should be super thick. Okay, so we're gonna go down, spin it down. I'm using my lighter colored tape. I probably should use the darker colored tape. It does come in different color greens. All right, and we spin it down. And then I'm going to spin it up, and I am trying to keep that pull in there so that it's activating the wax. All right. And then when we come back up, we can put the leaves on. All right. Okay, got a lot of glue over here, but here I come coming back up. All right, and I think maybe about here, like kind of halfway, I'm going to start to incorporate at least one of the, maybe I'll do both, I don't know. I could do some gluing here if I wanted to, might just. All right. Yeah, why not? Hold it in place. Definitely take and wrap your floral tape around it, but you gotta be sort of fussy with it. You see? This is coming apart a little bit, but that's okay. I'm gonna move my way around it. I'm gonna just sort of bend it here. I'll come back and fix it, but here we go, and move our way up here to the top of the stem. Okay, so you guys will do it better, right? But that's the technique. That's what I would do. If maybe there's a different technique you might want to share, then please share. But this is the only way that I know how to do it, and it has worked in the past. So I think if I were fiddling with it some, I could definitely get it to look good. All right. But it's kind of droopy here. So maybe I might consider putting a little bit of wire in it next time, or when I do the second flower. And do make sure that your tape is secure in there. So I do put a little bit of glue. Yeah, I want to put a little glue here. All right. Okay. And I don't want to burn myself, but of course I'm not very good with glue guns. I know I'm supposed to be not talking negatively about myself, but you know, I think some people just don't do certain things really good. I don't claim to do like vinyl really well. But I mean, some things I'm better at than others. So I think it's just being accurate, honest. That's okay. Some things are just not made for you. So speaking of that, tonight I'm actually going to be painting, and I am not a painter. So I am going to be doing a painting project at my local, it's like a maker shop, I would say. That's what I would call it, a maker shop. And let me just get up so you can see this. All right. So there's our flower, and there is the stem, which I think turned out pretty good once I put a little extra glue on there, and I might fiddle with it a little bit more. But so tonight I'm going to try my hand at painting one of our city's icons, which is a fountain in the middle of Crystal Lake. And I'm going to be going with a couple of resident artists, and we're going to be doing a live on that. I think I posted it before. I'll post it on my page again. But I'm just going to have fun. And we already started playing around, and there may be wine involved. So I think that would be fun. So let me just go up here so you can see the whole flower. You see like that. And I could see this making a very pretty bouquet, but also think in terms of wreaths or or a wall. If you want to do a wall sort of decoration, you could make these smaller and bigger. That would be really beautiful, but you'd need a lot of paper, a lot of pink paper, which is a little hard to come by in my opinion. So, also last night, I signed up for the Ranger Ink website. Let me go there because I want to show you something. So, one of the things that kind of like I was getting kind of confused about with Ranger Ink is, let's get out of this screen. So let's continue. Okay. So is all of the different colors available for the alcohol ink? So I went to the Ranger Ink website and I looked for and got, I think it's Ranger Ink. Yep. Right. RangerInk.com. And I looked for and got this. Where is it? Come on. I got these sort of, I don't know, color charts. So if you're interested in the ink, where did I put it? Right. So I have a box of 35 colors. And so I was like, I think I'm missing some of the colors, and I actually spent some time last night, and if you type in here, color chart, you will see, I think, or maybe I had to do it in the blog. Maybe I have to do it in the blog. So, all right, you. Ranger Ink color chart. I'll do alcohol. Okay. Organize your project. Is it? This might be it. Okay, yeah, this is it. So if you do this, it's called Organize Your Ranger Projects. If you scroll down, you'll see here is all of the alcohol ink. So here's all the alcohol ink. And if you click on, say, this, because this is the pearls, this is alloy. So under alcohol ink, if you click on download color chart, it's a PDF, and it's basically a little blocked off area, sort of looks like a bingo card, that have all the names of the colors. Okay. So, if you want to, I guess the idea here is to put a little dot of the ink in each of the boxes, which I tried to do last night. It kind of got a little messy, and I wanted to show you my end results. Sorry, there's an Amazon truck outside. I don't know why. But unless they're delivering to me, they better not make my dog bark. Okay, here it is. Okay, sorry. So here it is. This is the alcohol ink chart, which I kind of made a mess out of, but it was really useful to me because I could see that I have quite a few blues and greens, and then I was able to go back and say which ones am I missing. And they sell these in 3 packs, like on Amazon and in Michael's. But if you go straight to the Ranger Ink thing and you go to products, you can actually buy individual. You go under alcohol inks, and you can buy these individually. So that's what I did. And okay, guys, I'm kind of hooked. So I bought 30 more bottles, but I got 20% off, which was really cool. So what I did was I signed up for their email newsletter, and they sent me a coupon. So I went through all of my inks that I didn't have, and I found 30 that I didn't have, and I added to my cart. And then when I was checking out, I had that 20% off coupon. So I guess what I'm getting at is, if you really liked the alcohol inks and you didn't get the colors that you want, or you just didn't get any, I would sign up for their newsletter. and because there's a lot of really cool information on here. They do all kinds of things like with resins and stamps and ink pads and all of that stuff. It's not just the alcohol ink, but I would sign up and get your 20% off, and then you can go through and pick the colors you want. The point being, they don't sell these as packs, I don't think. Oh, well, yeah, they do sell the packs, but I wanted the individual. And also, if you wanted to get the UPO, there's the translucent UPO, there's the ink blower. So we don't always have to order from Amazon, is the point that I'm trying to make, right? And I think that's it. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to try to do a hydrangea ball. And what is a hydrangea ball? It's basically a styrofoam ball with all of these petals put on it. We're going to use the glue gun. I just have to find my styrofoam ball, and I'm going to be kind of busy later today. So if I can't find that, then we'll do this, which is a Forsythia flower card. It's like in a little milk jug. And so we may be doing this, or we may be doing the hydrangea ball. And depending on if I can find all of my supplies. Okay. So, we are going to be busy. We're doing a lot of flower stuff. Dawn was asking me yesterday when our next Zoom call is going to be. And I believe it's going to not be this Saturday. It's going to be next Saturday, May 8th. And I will work with Lynn to try to come up with a way that we have a nice link that everybody can join in easily. And we'll have a little bit more time. And I'm looking for ideas for a theme. Last month the theme was April showers bring May flowers. I shouldn't say last month, last time. And then, so I don't know if you want to do sort of a theme for this month. I don't know if I'm going to be doing the prizes the same way because the same people are winning. So I don't know, might have to do the prizes differently. And I think maybe we'll do a random prize selection on that Saturday night. So that's it for everything, lovelies, everything today. I hope you enjoyed the chat, and we will see you again tomorrow, bright and early at 9. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you get some crafting in. It's a sip and paint, although they can't advertise it as a sip and paint, but most people will be watching from home, so they can do what they want, right? And I already talked to the owner, and she said, yeah, you can bring wine, Rita. So I'm like, yeah, I can bring wine, Rita. So that's what I'm doing. And I think actually Owen's going to be there because he likes artistry stuff too. And he's not going to be drinking wine, of course, but he's going to be there. And that will be fun. And hopefully that's the start of some really great videos with my friend and artist, Pascal, who is really talented. And I'm hoping that we can do a lot more lives from there. Obviously, the setup is a little bit better, and it's bigger, and it's just for making, which I'm grateful for because, I'm sort of growing out of this space. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow or maybe tonight if you want to come and watch. I think it's free live, and so there's that. All right, everyone, take care and see you tomorrow. Starting your day with joy, joy, joy. Have joy, joy, joy in my heart. All right, everyone, take care. Hi, Babs. How are you? Have a great day, Deborah and Christina. Thank you. Nice to see you all.